Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I am Bancroft being joined once again by Jimmy, Matt, and like always, Fluff.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys.
What up, people? I'm just here for the free coffee.
And like
Just
always,
coffee?
there's always coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like always, there's buttons. Feel free to click them. They're there for a reason. So today's matchup is two cards from the new set. We got the blue Gohan leader with Mechikabura. Jimmy is taking on the Mechikabura, something he's been looking for a while. And while Matt, is this something you're looking forward to, or are you giving it a test?
So I've decided I actually love this deck. Yeah, I'm going to apologize to the viewers in advance. This is, I think, the second or third time I've played it. There's at least one horrific misplay that doesn't affect the outcome of the game, but it's still pretty grotesque.
There are a lot of misplays on both of our parts, and I think that comes from both of us trying to learn each other's decks and also explain what every card does to each other.
And I think you had distraction at one point in the match, right, Jimmy?
At one point, yes.
I will say that I love this deck. I think it's has the potential to be a really solid deck in the meta, especially with the new Spirit. Is it Spirit Boost? Is that the name of the new Unison expansion in June?
Yeah.
Yes.
But the Unison designed to work with this deck, it's a Goku, I believe. It's going to make it really, really good if it's not already. It's a fun deck. It has more removal than I would have thought, especially with the new Boo Unison. It's just a matter of learning how to pilot it and do a better job of anticipating your opponent.
Which I was not familiar with anything of the Gohan package other than the big boy. So I kind of knew where the deck wanted to go, but I did not know any of the support cards for the package because I've only seen people really run just a skillless package that goes into the big boy. So it's really interesting to see, and I was constantly asking, hey, what does that card do? What does this card do? And Matt was doing the same. And I've been playing Mechikabura quite a bit. So I kind of went into autopilot in some points. And that's a bad thing to do, especially when you're trying to learn the opponent's deck. Because I'm not really responding to anything you're doing other than, what you're telling me you're doing.
Well, the nice thing about Mechikabura against this deck is, it's I'm spamming the board with 2-drops, but it's he's taking one every turn after he's awoken. So it's do I even want to play the 2-drop, or do I want to just try and stall for time to live long enough to get to the 4? And eventually, I think, I try to play him early, and I spend a lot of time really worried about his battle cards just because they seem so powerful. I think, Jimmy, you've got one that doesn't warp on swing?
Yes, and we'll get into that. That's part of where I got distracted, and I read the wrong card to you. And we ended up fixing it. It did cause a minor issue in the game, but
did not affect the outcome in the least.
The interesting thing that I really like about Gohan, especially when it comes to the Saiyan Buu stuff that's coming a little bit later here in about a month or so, is that Gohan is just a series of checkpoints where you have the opportunity to play skills cards out to set up your big game push. And if your opponent has the ability to solve or respond to those counterpoints, then Gohan really just shreds in the water. But with Spirit Boost, it's going to practically double the amount of checkpoints that the opponent will have to meet to respond to the 10-drop coming out. It'll just completely change that.
And I would say, in response to Fluff's point, it's true that it kind of treads water on turns 2 and 3, but at the same time, a lot of blue decks do that. And the nice thing about this deck is, if you're not getting anywhere with your 2-drops, then, I run multiple baby unisons. I was running the 1-drop Panning Giru, but I am taking that out. And I'm, I had kind of had it in my head, I can use this instead of Trunks Heroic Prospect, but that was not, particularly viable. So I'm going to cut those out. But there's stuff you can do to kill time, especially the Baby Unison, the Boo Unison. It's designed to be very aggro, but it can also be very defensive.
What I meant was is
So before we get into this, Flip, I want to talk about this right here. I was this where I was talking about the distraction. I swung with Salsa. Matt asked, "Is there an on attack auto?" He negates, and then he goes, "What is the on attack auto?" And then I read Salsa in my hand, or Shroom in my hand. I apologize. I read Shroom in my hand. And I said it warps a 3 or less battle card on field, which is not true. The Salsa is a draw 1, then warp 1 from your opponent's drop area. So we do fix that. I don't think that Vegeta does anything on field that you would have used, if I remember correctly.
No, the Vegeta is. I only had the Vegeta on field because it was negate. So I mean, lost a whopping 5,000 in combo power. I mean that's all it is once it's on field.
Yeah, which it would have went away anyway because I played the Salsa, but it should have been on the Salsa swing that you had to warp the Vegeta, and not on the. Or I keep getting the names mixed up. I apologize. It should have been on the Shroom swing when you would warp the Vegeta, but it happened on the Salsa swing. But we do fix that because I said, well, I did it out of order. It shouldn't have been like that.
One thing. Oh, sorry, Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing I am playing around with in my head, and I don't know if it would work, but I've seen some deck lists with the Gohan package using Goku Soul Striker leader instead of the Gohan leader from this set. And and then you can either hard cast your 2-drops, or you can just get them out through the Pan Giru Unison. But I'm kind of playing around with that idea with the Blue Gogeta package, because there is a new Blue Gogeta promo that is just unbelievably powerful. If your Gogeta 5 or more is removed, it plays for free. It can also come into the field using cards in your drop as fusion material. And I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that the Gohan package is fantastic. The 4-drop is obscene, but it's not limited to this leader. And I do think there's potential to use it with Soul Striker and maybe even with Blue Gogeta.
And there's where I found the correction. So the Vegeta would come back into play because it missed auto. It would still be in play.
One thing that is worth pointing out with this deck is when you'll notice that I'm playing the 1-drop Krillin a lot, and the reasoning behind that is when you play your initial energy, and then when you swing with your lead, you get to pick an energy up and then put one down. Well, even if the one you're picking up is in rest, the one that comes back down is active. So it's essentially a free energy every turn prior to swinging with lead. So the Krillin is nice because you can just search for something, get something on the field. It's just an excuse really to use the 1 energy on something.
And you were trying to clear my field, which is not a bad idea against Mechikabura because you can snowball pretty hard and get a fat field very quickly. But I protected on the first swing just to make you waste more resources on the next swing. And ended up working out for me. I got the Senzu Bean and the other Vegeta off field. And that also fueled more cards into your drop area for me to warp later on for further effects. So
yeah, one thing, I was thinking about this. I don't know what Gohan does against this deck, other than just hope for 4 or 5 Dragon Balls in life. I mean, if I had to play it again, I would have, just try to get as many 2-drops out as possible, ignore your battle cards, and try to put as much pressure on your life as I could. Losing the 1-2-drop every turn to the awakened side of Mechikabura is just brutal. the Boo Unison. I don't get it out this game, but that's really helpful. God Sealing Technique would be helpful because what are the energy costs on your guys, Jimmy? Are they 3 and 4?
They're all of the Shroom and Salsas are 4, but I can play them for 1 energy. And then on my top end, there's 6 drop, 5 drop, which both have deflect, and then there's the 8 drop Mechikabura.
So, excuse me, I said God Sealing Technique. I meant to say Heroic Prospect. Early Heroic Prospects would be, very helpful against this deck, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The problem is that, you've got to, even if you get a Unison out turn 2, you have to have the extra energy left over the next turn to pay for the Heroic Prospect. And then as soon as you get that Unison out with 2, your opponent's, going to do everything they can to whittle it down some. Because correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have. Is it Heroic Prospect that requires the Unison have 2 energy, or is that God Sealing Technique?
God Sealing requires that. I think the Heroic Prospect only requires you to have a blue Unison.
Okay, so actually, in retrospect, that does make it a little easier, especially with all the ways to restand energy with blue. But this is not. Granted, I'm piloting a new deck, but I don't like the idea of having to see this matchup again.
Like what I found with Mechikabura is that there are a surprising amount of matchups where they cave to Mechikabura, and I think people don't realize how much they utilize the drop area and drop area effects until they don't have access to them anymore. Green struggles against it because of like Ribrians in the drop area. Any deck that utilizes draw monkeys, any deck that can play cards like Zarbon out of the drop area, it makes it really difficult to play around. It's really interesting to see how people try to approach the Mechikabura matchup, where they'll hoard cards in their hand and only drop them when what's the word I'm looking for? When they're ready to utilize them.
Now, I do think I know if you as everyone watching is a devoted fan of this wonderful channel, I do think my Red Gogeta would hold its own, if not potentially beat Mechikabura, especially since I've added strategies of U7 to it. Because your Mechikabura on his Awakened side, he does not ignore barrier, does he?
He does not. Also, another misplay there, that Trunks would go to the warp from the King Vegeta rip.
But I would love to see a Broly swap, a red Broly swap matchup, or a red Gogeta matchup, against this. Assuming, of course, you're running strategies of U7. Otherwise, you're just giving your opponent a god card to kill you with.
The red Broly matchup, I played red Broly before this match, and I made him restart his chain 3 times.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's. I think Gogeta may fare a little better, especially since I really don't bring out any battle cards until turn 4, and I also rely on a lot of removal with that deck. With Kaioken Blue Goku, probably my favorite piece of red tech in the game, if not tech in the game. But I'd like to see that matchup. Did you lose at all, Jimmy?
No.
What was who pushed you the hardest?
Probably Nick in the final round with his Goku hand control. I can't remember the name of the leader. Clash Coup hand control. That was a very rough matchup, just because he doesn't really rely on Ribrians to do all the hand control. He uses the Bardock Unison and the 1-drop Vegeta super combo to deal most of it. So me warping the Ribrians into the warp, or getting them out of the drop area, was not really that big of a help, but it did spare me the last 2 cards that I needed to win the game with.
What is what's your secret rare? Is it Kai of Time, or is it Heroine's Lineage?
So in this particular list, I'm running the Supreme Kai of Time. It would be the Sin Shinron secret rare from set 13, but I don't have access to it right now.
Is
I'm
that
waiting
one
for it to
not
go down a
energy
little bit.
specific?
No.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it is a absolute monster. It is a fantastic secret rare, especially in this list, because if you play it right, it kind of works like a baby hatch, and then puts a big body blocker that could also become a massive threat for 4 energy. Like, it's a fantastic secret rare. Probably my favorite secret rare from the new set, to be completely honest.
I have not seen anyone play it against me. I did not realize. I just assumed that it was yellow energy requirement.
No, it actually has a clause that it's treated in black in all areas.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. So I did notice that you were running the I believe that's the GT Goku super combo. Is there any reason for that?
No, it's hilarious. Like I have all these incredibly expensive cards from this stupid game, but for some reason I only have 3 of the draw 2, drop 1, plain old rare mono blue super combos.
They are kind of expensive. They're like $7 a piece.
Yeah, it's just a matter of the fact that I've been too lazy to buy one off TCG. Like I need to. I mean, it's cheaper than 2 packs. I need to buy one. I just haven't gotten around to it. But no, that card is just in there because of laziness, and I'll have one the next time I play the deck. I'll probably go on TCG after this and buy one. And for the record, we are not endorsing them. They are not a sponsor of this podcast. So I'm just expressing my own personal opinions.
Saves me time for playing a little Flash.
What'd you say, Bancroft?
It saves me time for having to put a little thing on the screen now.
I've been I cannot count the number of times that people have sent stuff without tracking, and then I've had to complain to get my $2, whatever I ordered.
And this is another misplay. I believe you misread the card.
Yeah, I thought it was from the deck. I thought it was from the deck. Yeah, that's a great card. It's you don't know what the name of it is. It's
I do not recall.
It's like Father Arrival Goku or something. It's essentially if you have 3 life or less, it's a counter, negates the attack, plays for free. And you can play a 2-drop from your hand, and for whatever reason, I thought it played a 2-drop from your deck. I really, really like the number of free play 3 life or less cards out of this set. I think King Vegeta's imposing presence is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I will die on the hill that it's better than Wolfang. And this little Goku card in this set, while not as good as Imposing Presence, is a free negate and span the board with 2-drops. So that's always nice.
And I want to mention here as well, it happened earlier, but I didn't mention when it happened. The leader specifies that you bottom deck the card to activate Mechikabura's activate main. In every instance that I activated it, I put the card in the drop area. That was just another side effect of I was trying to focus on what was going on here and figure it out.
He's just running up the score on that Warp 15 Fu, the asshole that he probably has in his deck.
Shrouded Mystery?
What's the most expensive Fu? Isn't there, is it the Warp 10?
The 6-drop?
Yeah, I think you have to pay 6, but Warp 10 for it. Am I mistaken on that?
It's Overrealm 10,
or
6
Overrealm
energy,
10,
I believe.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Or is it Overrealm 7? I could be wrong.
It's something obnoxious, but the Fus are they're not pleasant.
It really just looks like Jimmy's trying to deck himself out early. That's all.
And I'm just sad at this point. It's like I don't, there's nothing I can do. I can't get a 2-drop on the board because he keeps taking them. I'm at this point. I'm legitimately like, if I'm not on stream, I would have scooped. It's just, it's just demoralizing and pointless.
Something that Mechikabura is really good at is once it's awakened, just staying at a very high life total compared to a lot of other decks, where if you get lucky, you can awaken with 8 life and stand on 8 life the entire game. And the way I usually try to play it is stay at a high life total, use my resources, use my negates on early pushes, and then use the remaining life as like a cushion for the last couple of turns.
And you're using the Sparky super combos.
Do you draw anything when you play your Dark Dragon balls?
The 1-drop Dark Empire ball will draw me 2 if I drop a Demon Realm, Demon God, or another Dragon Ball.
Okay.
My standard yearning for the Dragon Balls does not. And I do want to say here at the Supreme Kai, she says to warp a card on field. It comes back into play at the end of the opponent's turn with its skills negated. Baby Geneva says when it's removed from the battle area, it's just removed from the game instead. So that's why it went away. And here's the Hail Mary play.
You mean Baby Hatch?
Baby Hatch, yeah. And here's the Hail Mary play of playing 5-drop Shenron, giving my leader plus 15k and triple strike, and then warping my balls for the triple attack on lead.
Such a crazy turn 5 combo.
It's ridiculous.
I think we talked about before.
It shouldn't have even gone to that turn. I just had Baby Hatch.
Yeah.
It's the only reason it went that long.
And I think we talked about before, Jimmy, where like when you do that, you gotta make sure it's the right time, because if you're playing against a certain deck, you're getting shut down. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. So I seen the baby hatch come out the turn before, so I knew blue does not have a turn killer like that, unless Matt was going to pull something new on me that I've never seen before from the set, because I did not see half the cards that he played on me.
I'm just running 2 Baby Hatches and hoping you don't notice.
You'd be surprised at the amount of misplays I made there. You probably could have played 3, and I wouldn't even notice.
Here comes Cell X. So Jimmy, is there anything right now that would outside of U7 that would potentially give you pause with Mechikabura in terms of being a bad matchup?
My worst matchup so far that I've had outside of the hand control, which hand control is just a rough matchup for every deck, is Bardock Crew, because Bardock Crew can strike very, very quickly.
Is this the new red Bardock Crew?
The new red Bardock Crew. So if I get unlucky, I have a lot of Dragon Balls in life, or I'm in a situation where I can't awaken quickly, then I'm just a setting duck and they're just swinging at a 10k the entire game. And that's a rough matchup, but that comes down more so luck based. If I can get awakened, then it kind of becomes a little bit of a better matchup. Still in Bardock Crew's favor, because aggro kind of beats the deck. But I do run a lot of negates in the list. So
I assume you have Protector in there.
I don't run Protector. I run the Poutine that's basically just a black topo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And
so before we go, let me ask you: have you played Agents of Destruction with Mechikabura? That's an interesting matchup in my head.
Not yet. I'm sure I will, because Bancroft every week threatens to play Agents. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
And it's just that I just had the deck built since the box come out. Ooh.
Truth be told,
I'm gonna play this or Slug.
I almost played that during the championship. I decided to go with Slug instead. I love that new Slug deck, but that's getting a little too sidetracked. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. Click those buttons, are there for a reason. Matt, last words.
As always, it's fun to try new stuff. Don't get discouraged if you get wiped with it. It's a fun game. Just try not to have as many misplays on stream as I did.
Jimmy,
can you just play what Matt said again? Basically, just the misplays part.
Just try not to have as many misplays on stream as I did.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do some magic. Thank you for making me do more work. And Fluff, would you lead us out?
Absolutely. Glad to see that Jimmy bodied basically everyone he came across this last weekend with Mechikabura.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What a crazy deck.
And his profile will be out tomorrow.
Yeah, his profile will be out tomorrow, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. As always, Read your cards, know your plays. Let us make mistakes so you don't have to, and fluff out.